Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Titan FC podcast. My name is Alex. I'm evidently the director of creativity. I am here today with Titan FC COO Lex McMahon. Say hi, Lex.
What's going on, people?
We are fortunate enough to have our very first guest for this podcast, MMA legend himself, Gesias, JZ Cavalcante.
What's up, guys? Always good to be the number one.
That's right. The first historic guest, my friend, JZ Cavalcante.
That's great, man. That's be historic.
There's the golf clap. I'll throw some golf claps in the background. So let's get started. What's going on here? So what we'll do is we'll just sit down and kind of really pick Jay-Z's brain because the man's got a million stories as far as MMA is concerned and I've sat down for a couple of them, so I know he's got some good ones. And then towards the end, then we'll start really going into the new card coming up, Titan FC 44 on May 19th.
So before we delve into that,
okay.
you know, I mean, I hate to hijack it right away, but let's talk about the fact that first of all, I want to give Jay-Z props because as much as I love him, the son of a bitch is never on time. He was the first one here, and we're at my house. He was the first guy here, so props to you, Jay-Z, for being first.
Okay.
But then let's talk about the fact that I walk up and Jay-Z says, brother, we got a little time. Where's Alex? I was like, he's on his way. Be here in a second. Okay, I'll be back in 10 minutes. I'm like, where are you going, bro? I'm going into the jungle. I'm like, you going to smoke some shit? Like, what are you doing? No, man. And I'm like, you're a spiritual dude, man. Like, I get it. I respect it. But where did you go? Because you drove away on top of it.
Yeah, man.
So you didn't drive to the jungle, bro?
They have a kind of park here. So I saw when I passed through, you know.
Yeah, it's a cool park. It's a cool park.
I love nature, man.
Yeah.
I love nature. And I just finished training, so I need the time just to relax, calm down, put my mind down, get the adrenaline out of my body a little bit. And I want to make Alex look good, you know, because...
My man.
Yeah, you see,
My man.
I went out, you come back. When I got back, you were here, so you're better than the Brazilian time this time. See?
All right, back to you, sir. You're in charge.
No, that was good. I was going to say, no, he really just wanted to go down the slide because they do have a pretty killer slide. I mean, I would have too, but I was late. I was legit late. But yeah, towards the end, we'll go over the Titan FC card coming up on May 19th. We're breaking ground with the all-new Pembroke Pines City Center.
That's right. That's right. Brand new venue will be maybe the third act that will be in there. And I've been down there quite a bit. It's actually an amazing venue, very much like an old school traditional theater with balcony seating, and it's going to be nice, man. I'm excited to bring combat sports and in particular mixed martial arts into the city of Pembroke Pines.
Yeah,
and I'm going to be the first one to get the belt in the new building.
That's right, historic.
Speaking of which, so let's start off with that. You are fighting for the interim title. So Lex, kind of give me a setup as to why we're going this route as Jay-Z is fighting Kurt Hollabaugh for the interim title. How'd you come up with that card?
Yeah, man. So, I mean, listen, anytime I can get Jay-Z on the card, it's a great day for Titan. You know, I mean, me personally, he knows I'm a big fan. He's been around. He's a legend in the sport, done a lot of great things. But the crazy thing is, I think you're still growing, brother. That's the thing that I love watching. Is you're not an MMA fighter, you're a true martial artist. And I think there's a pretty big distinction there because you are about that journey that is a lifelong journey. I think long after you're done competing, you'll be a martial artist still.
For sure. That's pass it through. I just posted something on Instagram yesterday talking about that. It's not just about what you achieve, what you have done, but what about you spread around yourself and what you're going to leave behind. You know?
Sure, your legacy.
Yeah, for sure. And that's a good thing to pass through. You know, fighting gave him a good life, not financially, but spiritually.
Hey, I'm trying, man. I mean, I'm not Lorenzo Fertitta, but I'm trying.
No, I'm not saying not just financially, but everything. You know, spiritual mindset. I'm good with my own body, and I'm good on my skin. So, for me, that's the success in life. You know, not just financial. That's what I'm saying. Like
sure.
A lot of people go, he's successful. Has millions. And then that doesn't mean he's really successful. Sometimes the guy can have millions but has no healthy, has no good mentality, no good mind. So
some of the saddest people I know are the richest people I've ever met. And it's crazy, man, but it really illustrates, I think, the importance of defining what sufficiency is and what real wealth is. And wealth, I think, has very little to do with money. Granted, I don't have a ton, but I've been around it. I've seen a lot of it, and I think that you're on the right path about being more holistic in how you define things.
Yeah. But it has a good house, right, Alex? It's a cool house. I
mean, I'm sitting here at the boss's desk with a beer. I think we're good. Whatever's going on here, I'm liking it.
But anyway, so to finish, answering the question, how we ended up with an interim title fight on May 19th. Freddie Assunção is thinking about going down to 145 and going after the belt there. Yeah. And he, had recently gotten married and he's had some stuff going on. So he wasn't ready to defend the belt just yet at 155. But he hadn't made the decision to vacate and he just wasn't sure yet. So, Freddie's been a good champion, man. He beat Jay-Z, which is not an easy task. So I felt that he certainly is entitled to take his time to figure out what he wanted to do. But from a business perspective, we can't hold up the division. And the two number 1 and number 2 contenders in Kurt Holobaugh and Jay-Z, it made tons of sense. They were both former champions. Jay-Z, a lightweight champion for us, as well as all of his accomplishments as a champion in Japan. And Kurt was our featherweight champion for he defended for several fights. So, it's a great fight. They're both legends within their own right with what they've accomplished. Kurt's a Strikeforce and UFC veteran, champion for Titan, and Jay-Z. And I think honestly, you should talk about your past and your history in Japan, because I think Japanese MMA has kind of gone away a little bit, and it's just now with Ryzen starting to come back. And I think maybe some people, that part of your story maybe isn't at the forefront, and I'd love for you to talk a little bit about that, because I think it adds a lot of color to why it makes so much sense to have you fighting again for a title.
Yeah, in Japan, Pride was the biggest show around 2000, 2001, 2002 that time, and I was trying to get to Pride, to fight in Pride, so they had a match up on the cage rate in England, so it was like a trials who was going to fight in Pride. I beat Mishihiro Migao, who fought in Pride. I knocked him out. And then the president of Pride came to me, oh, you know what, you need a little bit more experience. So we're going to hold on for the opportunity to come and fight in Pride. And then right after that, K1 Heroes, they call my manager and they ask, oh, you want somebody to fight? They will ask, I think it was Marcus Aurelio, who just beat Gomi. Yeah. And said, no, Marcus is already in contract, so why don't you take Jay-Z? And that was 2 weeks later. I fought and I got dropped out from Pride, And then K1 got me. They signed me in. So I made a run in the tournament. It was a tournament, 2 fights, single fights, and then the last fights were 2 fights on the same night. So that was in 2006. I signed with them in 2005. Got 2 fights in, and I fought for the belt in the tournament. 2 fights on the same night in the 2006. So I fought Kaoru Uno and Hani Haya. So it was a great.
And both of those guys, Kaio's an amazing fighter. He's fought all through Japan, but all over the world. Was in the UFC.
Yeah, UFC. He fought for BJ Penn. He's legendary as well. He was one of the guys I watched in Shoto back in the days, 90s, and I said, man, that's a great guy. And it was a pleasure for me to fight against him. That's when it become when you make your idols turn your rivals,
Sure.
So that was great for me, man. It was so nice, And then I won the title, and then the following year I won the title again on another tournament. So, and then they had a tournament, K1 and Pride, they make together an event. So that was big good stories there, I have a good foundation there. Even fought Masato, who was a K1 legend, just kickboxing. I had no pro MMA, no pro kickboxing fight. They offered me a fight. I say, why not? I fight. I like to fight.
That's what I loved about Japanese MMA back in the day, man. There's no rules, man. Like, I mean, there were rules, but like there was, I guess nothing was taboo in terms of matchups. I mean, they were really creative in some of the things, and you know, I mean, it was almost, some of it was more entertainment than sport with the wrestlers and all that. But man, it was entertaining, and that was the cool thing about it. It was super entertaining.
Well, that was also the beginning before like the word super fight got thrown around a lot. You guys had legit fights. I mean, you fought Shinya Aoki, Nam Fan, which is like hands down one of my favorite fights of all time, and you finished that super quick. I still remember like the day that I found that on YouTube. I was like, oh, this is a cool fight, like Nam Fan. And Nam Fan just ended up going viral at the time for some video that he put out online. And then all of a sudden it's like, Gesias Cavalcante. I was like, oh, who's this guy? All right, cool. I was like, oh, well, he just beat him in like a minute, 30 seconds. All right, and then next thing I know, a couple of months later, that's when I ended up coming into what was Jocko and the Black Zillions at the time. I was like, ew.
I know that guy.
I've seen you before.
And funny enough, like my story is like Jay-Z is the first guy that ever got me in a leg lock. And I learned the hard way about like how bad leg locks really are. So I was fortunate enough to train with him, and I remember I was like white belt, and we're just rolling, just starting off really nice. I'm kind of starstruck because like I'm getting to roll with like a legit legend, cool. And then all of a sudden I see where my foot is. I'm like, my foot's not supposed to be there right now, is it? And he starts laughing. He's like, no. I was like, well, luckily I'm a white belt. You can't leg lock white belts. He's like, I don't know who said that rule, but I didn't know. And next thing I know, there goes my ankle. And tap, and I still had the photo. I tagged him on Instagram. I was like, thanks, Jay-Z Cavalcante, for my first leg lock. And it's like ice packet on my ankle. Like, thanks, coach.
I'm a black belt, so I can do it. You know, if you can't, it's your problem.
Yeah, that's my problem.
Yeah, it really wasn't him being too aggressive. It was you not being technical enough and strategic enough to understand what the position you were putting yourself into.
Yeah, it's the problem of being a white belt at the time. I learned my lesson tenfold over, that's for sure.
The funny thing, that fight with Nam Fan was like 3 weeks before I fought Masato. And like everybody was like, you crazy, you're going to fight kickbox, why you going to fight an MMA fight, you can put everything. Bro, I want to fight. It was the first time K1 Dynamite was coming to America. Was in Los Angeles.
That's right, at the Coliseum.
In the Coliseum.
I was there, man. I was at that. Brock Lesnar was on that card. That's right. That's right.
Royce Gracie fought Sakuraba. It was a legendary card, man. I say, guys, I have to be in this card. I don't care. Look, I'm going to be good. I'm going to win this fight, and I'm going to fight in kickbox. I'm going to fight K1 Max. Don't worry. And I told them, I said, don't worry. And I made it through. I made 1 minute or something. You know, I was no injury free. I had the time to enjoy the rest of the event, so it was good. It was really nice, man.
Let me ask you a question, because you said like the tournament was 2 fights in one night, and that's not something, obviously the UFC doesn't do that. There's a couple other like fight organizations that have done that. How do you feel the experience is to do tournaments like that, where it is multiple fights in one night?
It's nice because it brings you back in the days, value to the days. That's when I start training, you know, and I see guys fighting, competing, 3 fights at the same night, no time, you know, like 30 minutes. Some tournaments was 30 minutes around. That's crazy, you know. And the thing with the tournament is nice because whoever wins goes. It's not about ranking, not about publicity, it's not about talking. Test. It's a true test.
Yeah,
you know?
Who's the best at that moment?
Yeah, that moment. Who made it through? You know, and sometimes the best guy can get injured. It's up to him. He's gonna fight or not. He's gonna pull out. You know, so it's so many factors in place that's crazy. So that makes it even more interesting. You know, so for me, it was a great experience just to live there. As like at the beginning of martial arts was similar, you know, and a great experience. It's funny because you have to take it one fight at a time. Like every other fight that I do in my life is the same way I fought like for the tournament. People would ask me, oh, so what do you think? If you pass through this guy, what are you going to do against the other guy? You planning for this guy or that guy? I say, guys, it's a tournament. I cannot make a strategy for 8 people, you know. On the finals, 4 of the guys were gonna get your head crazy, you know. So just go there, focus on yourself, and do the job.
I mean, that's about as classic martial arts as you can get. It's really just living in the moment and being able to act and react. It's like a Bruce Lee just methodology of you take it as the moment comes and then you react, and then hopefully you've done enough training where you know where to put focus on in a certain fight.
Yeah.
Be water, my friend.
Yeah, be water.
It's funny is, you know, I one of my really good friends from high school, he's like my best friend. He went to Tulane University after he graduated, and I went on to the military. And while he was in school, he ended up going to school and becoming really good friends with Shannon Lee, who's Bruce's daughter.
Right.
And over the years, I've gotten to know Shannon, and she actually came out, and Shannon and I went together and were guest speakers we did this event. I think you were there. When we did Mobile Aerofest, which was like a year and a half ago, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Anyway, so it was this big fight that we had, and we did the weigh-ins on the battleship. It was amazing. But my favorite part of that entire experience was when Shannon and I went and talked to a group of students, and you know, there is like this underprivileged, like the stories that, like, just really humble beginning stories, and how these kids had fought through adversity but were great students and great kids, and they just had a really shitty beginning in life, and they were fighting their way through it. And so as a community outreach piece, you know, I asked Shannon if she would join me in this, and she did. And man, I had so much fun, you know, talking with her about the legacy of her dad. And that's really what her whole mission is to perpetuate his legacy. You know, and so I go on and I see those, you know, those little clips from the Bruce Lee Foundation. And, you know, my favorite one really is the one where he talks about, you know, water and how it's formless, and, you know, be water, my friend. Mm-hmm. You know, that to me really personifies what being a martial artist is all about. And to hear it from, kind of hear her interpretation of one of the greatest martial artists ever, pretty cool, man.
Yeah, for sure. And I was there. We did a speech at the...
Oh, that's right. You came with
I came. I was there.
Well, now I feel like an asshole. But it was cool, right?
Yeah, it was really, really
nice.
nice.
I'm old, man. You know, you got to give me a little credit, man.
I'm not old, and I still forget a lot of stuff, you know. But that day really was special.
That's right.
To the kids. Was a bunch of other fighters there, like it was 6 or I don't know, even more.
Well, we did 7. Shannon and I think did one by ourselves, and then we did
with the group of fighters.
Right. There was 2 different places we went to.
So it was really nice, man. And like, it's good to get the to also like give my experience to them, you know. And you're talking about Bruce Lee. Your favorite quote is the one that he talks about: "Be water, my friend." And I love the one that he used, like "walk on."
Yeah.
Whatever happens, walk on. Keep going. And I use a similar philosophy, you know, way or your way.
You know, I was going to ask you about that, bro. Like, you tag a lot, and we've talked about it a little bit in the past, but Wu Wei Warrior, and you've told me about it, and I love it. If you would share a little bit about what that is for everybody, I think people would really dig hearing about your philosophy on that.
Yeah, because Wu Wei is the Tao. Like in China, they have a Chinese philosophy, Chinese religion is the Tao, but the philosophy is the Wu Wei. It's like basically it's nature. Like when you plant a seed in the earth, you made the action, but then there is no action. No action, but there's no forcing action. You know, you gotta put the seed there. The universe is gonna provide the earth, the water, the wind, everything it needs to grow.
Right.
You know, so the sprouts start breaking the seed, they come breaking the earth, and then start growing, get the light, the sunlight, everything. So it basically is like you have no control of that. You just let it go, just let it fluid, you know, flow that way, and then gonna grow. You do your part. You go there, you plant the seed, you have a good earth, you get good water, sand, everything, and then let it go. Don't be attached, you know. Don't force it. You know, like you have time for the seed to grow, to become a tree and give fruits and anything. So if you go back, nothing's happening. What's going on with the seed, you know? And then you go there and take the earth to try to see what's going on with the seed. You just kill the seed. You just kill the whole...
Because you're putting your timeline on nature's timeline.
On nature's timeline.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Like, it's the same thing like when you prepare for a fight. Like, if you prepare the fight, just thinking of the fight, ahead, like on the time there on the fight, what are you doing?
Yeah, you're not going through the process.
You're
and
not
the
going
journey.
through the process. You know, so many factors, so many stuff that can happen. So you just train, put yourself there, feel good, get your mind in the right place, your body, be prepared, but not just about one thing. Be prepared in general for everything, for all situations. You know, it's not no desire, no attachment. Oh, I have to do this. One thing I try to ban on my life. I have to do this. I have to do this. Create so much pressure in yourself. Not the training, life in general. You know, you gotta figure out the ways. Like, okay, sometimes life is guide you in another direction. Take the path, relax, be water.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, be water. Go back. It's the same philosophy.
Sure.
Bruce used the same ideas. You know,
right.
And the warrior way is the martial art way. Be disciplined, determined, resilient. Go there, put your effort, work. You know, and things are gonna come.
Yeah.
So that's my philosophy.
Right, but I think that's one of those like things that really kind of sets you apart from everybody else, because you have been a part of so many historical cards and you've been doing this. I mean, it makes you sound like you're old, but you're not that old. You're pretty young, and you've sat there and been through so many of these different cards. But you're one of those people that keeps it to as traditional of a martial artist mindset, where it's constantly developing not only your skills but you personally. And I think that sets you apart really as far as a fighter, because it's not about the money, it's about the fight. The money comes, but you're in it for the fight and for the actual challenge.
Because for me, it's like, if you just think about money, like it's no reason that by itself doesn't motivate me. Like we were talking in the beginning, some people has a lot of money but has no happiness, has no joy in life, you know. And I gotta enjoy what I do. I love fighting. I love to fight. Like you said, I'm young. I'm still planning to fight 10 more years. I want to be, you know, going as long as I can. But that's not my idea. But I don't force it. Like I said, I'm not attached to that. If life can make different plans, and I just go with the flow. But I have my goals and I let it go. It's like for me when you have a bow and arrow. You have the aim there. After you release the arrow, it's nothing that you can do. You just, you know, you made your choice. Maybe you're gonna get there or not. Maybe the wind is gonna blow it out. Maybe you're gonna rain. The water gonna drop the arrow, you know, in different direction. So many stuff that can happen. So that's what I see. You know, it's not just about the money. It's about my moment and how can I develop. How can I be a better fighter, a better person, anything, you know, and just keep evolving and have a good, healthy life.
I think you got Lex excited the second you said bow and arrow. He's like, oh,
well, no, you know what I was actually thinking about? Well, you did, because I was thinking, oh, wow, it's time to go hunting again. But no, you know what's funny is my wife has been talking about, and she's got the diagram. It's an arrow, and then she has like a really cool message that's going to be written down the shaft of the arrow. And she's going to have it into a tattoo that'll go down her spine. But the whole premise was, you know, once you pull the arrow back and put it under tension and you've taken sight, now you just need to release yourself to the path that it's going to take, because you've done everything you can do.
Exactly.
You know, and it's all in that preparation. If you do the preparation, the rest will take care of itself.
That's the action, and then there has no forcing. There is no action after that. You know? That's the Wu Wei philosophy. It's about.
Cool.
So, moving on to the next part, we just released the video highlight, basically a kind of our behind the scenes series, Way of the Warrior, and once again, Jay-Z is the first one for this card.
Historic.
Right? So, I followed you when you went out surfing, and you kind of literally threw me out to the sharks.
So wait, let's talk about the fact that there was a sign that said "Watch out for sharks."
Oh,
as you were walking down onto the beach.
This is the best part, is that I see the sign, and he kind of, as we're walking past it, gives like a smirk and points to it. It's like, this guy, he's the one with the board. I'm the one that has to go in the water. You're floating on the water. So I was like, yeah, that's funny. All right. Like, whatever. Just keep going. And as we're sitting there, they're getting the boards ready. Him and Mike were just getting their boards ready, getting ready to go out there. They start talking. He's like, oh, yeah, are there any locals out here? He's like, there's only a couple of shark tooth locals. And they're still joking around about it. I'm sitting here trying to keep it cool. Like, I got to get my camera ready. I'm just here to film. I'm like, all right, I got to get this stuff done. So that part of Florida for sure has like more sharks than if you're going to Delray Beach or things like that.
Where'd you guys go? What part was it?
Juno Beach.
Juno Beach, yeah.
Okay.
So I'm sitting there thinking like, all right, man, like you just got to power through this. Just focus on getting the work done. Film.
But I'll tell you, epic shot. Like, that drone footage was epic.
Oh, that was awesome. And that wasn't even my footage. I got to give credit where credit is due. It was actually a bystander who was filming us and was cool enough to give us the footage. Mine was more up close of Jay-Z running me over with the surfboard. But as I'm getting stuff ready, it's like, all right, we're going to go out there. This is what we're going to film. We're going to get this and that. I turn around to get my camera. Jay-Z's gone. He's gone. As fast as I've ever seen him, he's out in the water, like a good 50 yards, 100 yards out. You were out there. I'm like, so I'm like, all right, I got to get out there as close as I can to get my shot. And then I start swimming. I'm like, Jay-Z, I'm whistling at him. Come back. Come back. He's gone. Doesn't pay attention to me. And as I'm sitting there like drifting, I was like, oh, that sign just pops into my head. I just walk right back out. I spent 15 minutes whistling at him. Like, come back. Come back. This is not worth me right now. I'm like, I want to go surfing later too. Let's go.
That was a bad day for surfing. Like a lot of days in Florida because there's a wind swell. Like it's a mess. And but that's the thing. When you get in the water, you want to get waves. I'm sorry, my man. I gotta get my waves, you know. That's my thing.
So, but you gotta set up there for the people. If you haven't seen it, guys, you're gonna have to go to look, and I'm sure Alex will put up a link for us, with the podcast. But you set up the shot, man. Explain that one overhead shot with Jay-Z out there, and then the next thing you know, it's like Shark Central.
So for people that don't know, if you haven't been to Florida, there's a part of the year that is shark migration, and it's
a shark orgy.
It literally is what it is. I mean, if you Google image it or just go on YouTube and just type in shark migration Florida, you'll see thousands and thousands of sharks. Me, trying to be the eternal optimist, is thinking, it's not that time of year. I'll be all right. I can go with 1 or 2 sharks in the water. I'm okay with that. I mean, come on. Look how much water there is. They're not going to pinpoint me. So I'm sitting there getting my shots. We're doing our stuff. And then, like I said, there was a drone flying out there. And Jay-Z and Mike come back in. It's like, oh, where's the drone? I don't know what you guys are talking about. It's like, oh, somebody was flying a drone. We thought it was yours. I was like, no, it's not mine, but it'd be cool footage to get. So as we're walking out, this guy comes up to us. He's like, hey, guys, like I was flying a drone overhead of you. I got some great shots if you want them. It's like, yeah, sure, please. And then he follows it with, yeah, there's a bunch of sharks around you.
And you see the picture, and there's just like literally 100 sharks around.
Bro. So when he says that to me, I'm thinking like, all right, it's got to be like 1 or 2, 3 or 4.
For sure a school, and I'm going for sure a shark orgy.
Yeah.
Like, no questions asked. They were getting busy. There's sharks everywhere. Jay-Z was just in the way.
No, so like he's like, I'm thinking to myself, like, bro, don't tell me that. Like 3 or 4 I can deal with, but he said a bunch of sharks. So it's like, thanks. I'm still trying to play tough in front of like these other guys. So about like a week later, he sends me the footage, and I start going through it, and I'm like, I don't care about the footage about Jay-Z. I'm like trying to see, like, I want to see how many sharks were out there. And there's a solid 30 or 40 sharks.
Man, and I don't like to see that.
Right?
I don't like to knowledge it.
You know what's crazy is Stefan Struve and I.
Oh, one more time.
You're gonna have to edit that part.
Yeah, we're good. We're good. And what'd you do? You killed me here. There we go. Yeah, we're getting excited. You good?
Yeah. So Stefan Struve and I were in Australia. This is a couple years ago, and he fought on the Melbourne card. And we looked up great white diving. And there's one place in Australia. There's 3 or 4 places in the world that you can go, but there's one place in Australia, and I googled the place, sent them a message over social media. I said, listen, Steph and I have been wanting to do this. We'll do a bunch of social media for you guys. Calypso Chargers, you got to check it out. It's like the craziest place to go. And just to follow them on Instagram is amazing. But so they ended up setting us up. So we went, didn't have to pay for anything. Went to Port Lincoln, Australia, out to the Neptune Islands. And man, we get into the cage. Bro, I'm telling you, there was 6 sharks, 6 great whites. It was the coolest experience ever, man, because, I mean, I was impressed by, they were big. They were like 5.5 meter sharks. Like, so massive, like a bus with fins swimming by you, you know? But they were so majestic and so incredible. And, man, they're just going about their business, man. You know, their business happens to be killing shit, but they were just going about their business, eating fish, going after animals, you know? And I think that's an important perspective a lot of people, you know, miss out on, is they get freaked out by sharks and, you know, no, man.
Yeah, they think the shark is aggressive and this and that. They are not. They are not. Especially here in Florida, it's cool because they are not that big. Yeah. They are small sharks, you know? So they are like I get that. Like if I see a big one, a white shark, it's a little bit different. But in Florida, they have small ones like the blackfin and the snipers. The
Jay-Z, you know, they've seen 2 great whites here in South Florida recently.
Yeah, but
just saying.
Just saying, they leave them out there.
Well, side note: the day after we did our our video shoot, they spotted a hammerhead shark down in Delray.
Okay, guys, I don't want to know that much.
Again, you had the board. I was in the water.
But that's the thing. When you go out there, you start getting nature, you start to see, you start to understand, you start to get a little bit more knowledge, you know, and you kind of respect. I know, I don't want to be close to a shark. If I start seeing, I try to move a little bit away here and there. But they are not after human beings. If something happens, an accident.
Yeah.
And that's
100%, man. That's kind of like, it just happens to be the plan.
Yeah, you see here, like, happens like they bite and they go away because they don't like human beings, you know. They don't like the meat. They look for fish or something else. So for me, in my mind is like if I take my car and I go to the gym driving, the accident can happen.
Sure. There's a greater chance of it happening there.
No, it's more exactly. It has more accidents, car accidents than sharks, and I'm not gonna sacrifice what I love. You know, that's another sport that I get the passion. I'm so glad to have met the guys from 27 North. That's a company, the pedal that sponsor me as well. Mike McGann, that's the guy you're talking about when we go surfing. Phil Gaio. So it's not just the surfing, but the environment with the people as well is the same. I think one lifestyle complements the other. The fighting lifestyle with the surfing lifestyle, it's complementary. You know, it's like in Brazil, it's big. Like jiu-jitsu and surfing, it's big together. Everybody do. Most people do this both.
Sure.
And,
well, I think it goes back to the kind of like I don't want to say philosophical, but I think that's part of it is just kind of outlook on life. You know, and I think there's a connection between the two. If you have kind of like the martial artist as opposed to the fighter, you know, but the martial artist outlook on the sport, I think you're going to be more in tune to doing something like surfing, which is, you know, being very in tune with nature and not having to understand, you know, the swell and what's going on out there with the wave action and all those sorts of things. I think you're much more open mentally to these sorts of things.
I think it was Kelly Slater who said like as soon as you start being a surfer, you start being more aware of nature. You start to worry more about the planet itself. It is. You start like, man, the water that's, garbage all over in the beach. You start like, damn it, who left this? And you start picking it up by yourself. Like sometimes I take stuff from the beach and throw away. Not just on the beach, even on the street. Sometimes I'm taking stuff, and then I realize, okay, I'm doing this. Why? You know, just because I care about the nature itself.
Sure.
We are nature. We forgot this. Most of the time we talk, I love to be in nature. We are nature. We gotta remember that we are nature. We're part of everything. So it's good to take care of each other, take care of your environment, all those stuff.
I think that's one of those things that a lot of people don't understand. I mean, totally off the topic, but you're just still, you become part of the nature and you start seeing the direct impact you have. And I'm sure like you see it too, as far as like your hunting is concerned, is the impact that a lot of people have, they don't realize that they have.
Oh yeah.
Especially when you go surfing or when you go hunting, and you know the way that people see it, it's like, oh, just to have a day at the beach or go out and get drunk, and then they leave everything out there. It's like, you know, no man is an island. Everything you do has an impact on what you do.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
Yeah, listen, I think we all have a responsibility not to be assholes, right? And it's a little bit crude, but the reality is, you know, maybe a better way to say it is we need to leave a positive footprint in what we do in every aspect of our lives. And nature is the part that we really have to, because once we're dead and gone, right, that's the one legacy we leave, good or bad, is what kind of shape the world's in. Right?
Sure, absolutely.
So it's the one thing we can control. Like you were saying, Jay-Z, you pick up, you know, for me, like when I'm hunting, I do the same thing. But when I'm hunting, I also, you know, like I don't take maybe the best animal. I take the one that's sick, you know, the one that needs to go for the health of the herd. You know, those are the ones, well, except for that one, which is, I mean, that's a trophy.
Clearly it's a trophy.
That son of a bitch had to die. But the rest of it, you know, it's all about, you know, the health of the environment. I think a lot of people who are against hunting and all that sort of stuff don't understand that it's a control methodology for the environment. There are other ways, but it is a way.
Yeah, and you're personally taking the step to go and making the adjustment to help nature out. It's not like you're doing it to be, you know, bloodthirsty. You're doing it because you are helping something out, and you're making your own effort without waiting for someone else to do it.
Yeah, and you know, we at this house, man, we eat everything we harvest. So I don't just go shoot something and leave it, man. Even when we were in Africa, we ate the animals that we harvested, and then whatever we didn't eat, we gave to the local villages. And, you know, they're happy to get it, man. I mean, they're out there doing the same thing. Are they wrong? Yeah. They're just sustaining them, their livelihood. And you know, and someone goes to a store and orders or a restaurant and orders a hamburger or a steak. Man, I'm going to tell you what, that poor animal's had a rougher life than any of these animals sitting on this wall who just minding their own business, and one day they just went humanely. Yeah. You know, like one bullet and gone. They got to live their life and enjoy it and do everything. Man, animals that are our food sources, forget about it. But different topic, man. Different topic.
Yeah, but they're just getting there because it was funny. When I was young, I'm not really like into hunting. I don't like much, especially because I think it was a traumatizing. You know? When I was 10 years old, my father gave me like a BB gun. Yeah. I don't remember. Yeah. But I know I shot a bird, a little bird, man. And then one of my neighbors saw it, and she was like on my head, you know, and she was talking about like going to talk to my father, and I felt so bad. You know, I was like, oh shit. And then I took the bird, I took I cook the bird and I make like a farofa. It's
with the rice.
With the yuca powder,
right,
you know. And then we took the chest. So I took the chest of the bird and I cooked it.
Like
so I ate the bird that I killed, you know. So that was my mind.
Wasted. It wasn't
senseless. Like okay, no, that was. After that, I never really
Jay-Z went on his Wu Wei warrior path after that. Like, make it count, man.
No, make it count. Was fun.
So let's talk a little bit. And one of the things that I love and I want to do with the podcast is not be put in the four corners of any topic, you know. Sure. So I love going all about. But at the end of the day, this is all about talking about some of the things that are coming up and exploring the personalities that are part of Titan, but also talking about some of the fights. Like, I want to talk about your fight coming up with Kurt Holobaugh a little bit, and I mean, obviously, you don't want to, you know, give away the roadmap or the strategy. But when you think about that fight, like, what comes to mind for you?
He's a tough guy. He comes forward, you know, has a good pace, never has been finished.
He's a tough kid.
He's a tough kid, and I love to be the first one.
All about history, man.
All about history. I'm the number one. Like I'm the number one, first one in the podcast. I'll be the first one to stop him.
Yeah, no. It's when I had the opportunity. That's the great thing about having a smaller company, right? Like we're not the UFC. I've never pretended to be the UFC or anything like that. we're a small company, and the cool thing about that, it gives me a lot of flexibility, but it also, out of necessity, means I get to wear a lot of hats and do a lot of different parts of the business. And one of the cool parts that I took over, maybe a year ago or 8 months ago, was becoming matchmaker. And I'd always been somewhat involved with it. But once I took that over and started developing, the matches, I got real excited when I thought about it. And I've been trying to get Kurt and you to fight for a while. And I've offered Kurt to fight a few times before I even came to you with it. And, he wasn't ready. He wanted to fight, but he wanted to fight when it was for something meaningful, for the title, the main event, something, which I understood. It made sense because he's like, listen, Jay-Z's a tough dude. Like, if I'm going to fight a tough dude, I don't want to be, on the undercard. I want to be at the top. I said, fair enough. So, it's cool to see it come to fruition now because I'm close with both you guys. I have a lot of respect for Kurt. I've known Kurt a long time. He's fought, for me. I managed him at one point when I was managing guys. He's just a great guy, and so I'm excited to see him get to fight somebody of your stature. And conversely, I think I'm excited for you to be able to fight somebody that's really going to challenge you. I know, we've talked about matchups in the past, you and I, and one thing that's always impressed me is you don't shy away. You want the tougher ones, and he's it. He represents, I think, one of the tougher matchups in the division.
Yeah, he does, and that's cool. Like he was worried about, I want to be a big fight and this and that. He's smart. No, he's right. I don't take nothing away from him. He's smart. Sure. Sometimes I'm the stupid one. I want, I won the belt, and 5 weeks later, 6 weeks later, I was fighting again. I'm not hiding behind anything. No, like I said, I like to fight, and I'm gonna put myself there. And that's one thing I said before. People might get wrong, twisted. I said, like, one time I said, I don't give a fuck about the belt.
I remember that.
Yeah,
I remember. Yeah, it was Eric, our producer. He got you riled up trying to get that sound bite.
Yeah. Well, how do you feel fighting for the belt and this and that? I gave him my answer, and he came out like, that's not right. Who told you don't care about it? I said, bro, I don't give a fuck about the belt. Have you ever seen somebody fight with the belt on the waist? When you get inside the cage, it's a fight. So that's my mentality. And then I have to switch around and understand. It's not that I don't give a fuck about the belt. I love the belt. That's the material that, okay, I'm the number one. For the media, for everything else is good. But when you fight, in that moment, it's no belt in my mind. I'm about to beat that guy. That's all. Yeah. You understand? So that's what I'm saying. Like, Kurt was smart. He was thinking about his career, the place, and this and that. Like a lot of guys on UFC, like how UFC does a lot of stuff. He puts a lot of, this guy gonna fight that guy because they're gonna make money. They're looking for the business. Sure. Yeah, I understand that, and I'm
that's why you're not in the UFC right now? Because you followed, because it's a tough question, I know, bro, but like there's no question you're a legend in the sport at your young age. You've accomplished so much. You fought everywhere. Why are you not fighting the toughest motherfuckers out there? You're fighting tough dudes, right? They just don't happen to be in the UFC right now at this minute. But you're fighting tough. But why are you not fighting in the UFC? Do you think it's because of some of the matchups you've taken, or just the journey you took, or what is it? Yeah,
if you see my career in the couple years, like 8 years, I think, it's not being consistent. Just an easy path. Bro, I'm so happy. I'm stoked. Last year I had 4 fights. 1 in Japan and 3 at Titan.
Man, I'm going to keep you busy until you move on to the next phase. And I'm a big advocate, and I'm going to help you move on to the next phase. But I'm going to keep you busy until you do.
Yeah, and I told you, when I signed with you guys, I said, look, I want to fight. Yeah. Please, give me fights. I just got to get my rhythm back. In the past almost 10 years, I haven't had the fight, like 3 fights in a year, 2 fights in a year. So that was a tough moment in my career. So I couldn't get the consistency. Right. I couldn't get to the fight and be comfortable with everything. I was doing. So I think that's the reason why I'm not UFC. Like when I was being in Japan, they come, they offer, they make the approach, but wasn't right for me.
Sure.
So I took my business. I took myself. I take
at that time in Japan, man, people were making a lot of money. Man.
Yeah, for sure.
And UFC comes in and, oh, hey, Jay-Z, you're a good guy. Hey, give you our entry-level contract. Fuck you.
and I think they got mad with me at that time because of that, And then after I went to Strikeforce, they bought Strikeforce. And at the time, I had to fight out of the Strikeforce because I just want to fight. And then I lost, and then I think that's why they didn't move me over.
Right.
And also the money wasn't close to what I was doing. And so sometimes it's hard, like I said, about the money, about fighting. But I don't know. But like I said, it's the time. I'm feeling good now. I'm healthy. I'm consistent in fighting. I'm in good place. Sure. So, and like I said, I'm still young. And I have 10 more years to fight.
This is definitely not it can be a short career for some people, but I think this is not it's not a sprint. You really kind of have to take a more long-term view. And I think if you do that, because there's so many ups and downs in this sport, man. It's not like boxing and where they pad your record. No, man, you're fighting tough dudes all the time. Mm-hmm. And, I think that's one of the things that makes mixed martial arts so interesting. And hopefully what we're doing at Titan in terms of putting on, tough matchups is it's entertaining. It's compelling, sport as opposed to, oh, Mike Tyson's 18 seconds. Okay. It's like you knew he was going to knock him out before he even knocked him out. That's why people cared that Buster Douglas knocked him out, because it was something different, and the mystique was gone. But, so I think that with MMA, because, look, Randy Couture, 19-11, I think, Hall of Famer. Like, that's the reality. That's, I think, more true to what this sport is all about, is the fact that there's the ups and downs.
But I'm kind of guessing how the MMA gonna go from now on. Because I see, like, boxing has been forever. A lot of... Not decades, like, I don't know, 100 years already in boxing, professional. So they know how to build the fighter. They know how to build their record. And I see MMA going almost on the same path. I see a lot of guys, you see guys like, oh man, this guy is 11-0. He's the next superstar. Who he fought?
Yeah. No, I got guys right now. I told you, I'm matchmaking. I got a dude who's 1-0 and turning down 3 or 4 fights. Yeah. And I get it. Like, and no disrespect. Like, I understand, like, you want to put yourself in the best position for success, but there's also a certain component of it to it. You got to get in there and get that consistency. And, because if you turn down 3 or 4 fights, man, I can't keep holding a position for you, right? I'm going to have to, and it's what I did. I moved that person to another card. I'll try again, and that person, it's not like I didn't cut the person because I really like him and I think he's a great fighter and I think he has potential. But there's this balancing act of, hey man, I got to get in there and fight, and I got to make a smart business decision for me. Because I've always said this to the individual athletes, man, you have to treat what you do as your own business, and no one else is responsible for it but you. So I don't fault anybody for the decisions they make. It's just, I have to keep the machine moving on my side, but it's sure. It's a different I guess aspect of things.
For me, as I am, and as I know a lot of guys that grew up with me, a lot of fighters will have a different mentality. Even that I'm young.
I don't think you've ever said no to a fight that I know of.
That's what I'm saying. Like my mentality is like, I will fight. I said no to a couple fights when I was coming back from injury, and that's something I was trying to be smart, but that's another thing. I was thinking too much.
Sure.
I wasn't going with my instinct. Any day, I rather go with my instinct than just with my mind. People think, oh, you're smart with this and that. I rather go with my instincts than with my mind. My mind can lie to myself.
Sure.
You can come here, you can say positive affirmations, whatever, and you don't feel it. No, and it's not you.
But that hunts you down all the way to fight night and totally throws you off.
Yeah, and I rather go there, see who I am, where I'm at. I know who I am as a person, as a human being.
But on that night, where am I at on this night?
Exactly.
Because it's a reflection in time of the progression you've made, and it's not, it doesn't validate you for your entire life, but for that moment in time,
yeah.
This is where I'm at.
And everybody says, the best man wins.
No, not necessarily.
Not necessarily. That day, you see George St. Pierre get knocked out by Matt Serra. I think that was one of the biggest upset in history. Matt is a great fighter, and Mo is a ground fighter, and he knocked George GSP. He knocked St. Pierre. That was crazy, I don't believe Matt is a better fighter. St. Pierre is one of the best of all time. His strategy, technique, everything. He's really good. But that's people sometimes get twisted. Let the best man win. No, not really.
Yeah.
No, it's the moment. There's a lot of sometimes even things that you don't have control, and that's one thing I get in my mind. I get in my life. I don't have control for everything. I control the stuff that I can, and I let it go. That's all. Don't make it easy. Make it easy on me. And also I don't count. I believe in God, so I don't count on God for everything in my life. I do my stuff. I do my path.
You gotta put yourself in position, and the rest takes care of itself.
I like to honor the God. He gave me life. He gave me his air. Gave me his food. Give me good people around. I have a great gym. I have great people surround me. Fighting a good event. So I'm not going there asking for God so many stuff. I'm just honoring him. I'm thankful. Thank you for another day. Thank you, Lex, for another fight. Thanks, Jeff, for another fight. Thanks, Titan, for another fight. Those are the things that I like to go. I like to think about it. Be thankful for what I have, and I honor God in that way.
Cool.
So let me ask you a question. Because I've been around you for a lot of fights, and I've been fortunate enough to actually follow you personally through some of the fights, especially in the past few years. But one thing I never asked you is really, in your mind backstage before the fight, you have your routine. I know you have your routine because I've seen it. But what's really going on in your head? Are you playing the fight through your head? Are you just living in the moment? Are you going through your routine and that's it?
That's a good question. Because when I'm there, I just want to go by my routine. I don't want to think.
Is it because it's comfortable and it allows you just to be in that moment, or?
Yeah, stay in the moment. If somebody come and ask me at that moment, what is the most important thing in your life right now? My life. People don't think of that. Mm-hmm. Everybody gonna be thinking, is this fight? Keep your hands up. Keep this. No, it's my life. I'm still alive, and I'm about to do something that I love. So let it go. You're
so loose when you come out. You're dancing, and it's not just like, it's just like this really, like, you're just letting it all go. You're really feeling that experience, and the lights are going off, and you got your music, and it's just this really cool vibe, man. Like, a lot of people are so tense. Mm-hmm. They get in there, and their muscles are all tensed, and their mind's tense, and they're like, I'm gonna kill this motherfucker! Oh my god! And you coming in, man, like, hey man, we're gonna have a good time.
Exactly.
And what it's gonna be is what it's gonna be. But I'm gonna have a good time. This is my time, and that's almost what I feel like. I feel like when you get in there, you've put in so much work. It's your time to enjoy the fruits of all that effort.
Exactly. I'm not lying. Sometimes that I have to force there, just like, okay, that's my routine. Like I said, when you create the routine, you create the habit, good stuff comes. So sometimes I just go forcing a little bit, and sometimes I'm just there. I'm just flowing, just in a good vibe, and that's the way I like to fight. That's why all the time I'm putting myself, my mind, my body on that situation. I have fought that they have fights that I fought injury, and I came to the fight, and I wasn't like in that situation, like, okay, everything is cool. No, but I'm gonna make it cool. That's the best I can be at this time. That's the 100% that I have now. So, fuck it. Let's do it.
But now already he's like, well, I gotta ride this train out.
Yeah. We were talking about the business of things a little bit. There's a fighter that fights for Titan that is 4-0. And he's probably the biggest name, and in no disrespect to you, like you're the biggest probably star. Or let me rephrase it. He's probably the biggest star. You're the biggest name, and it's Jose Shorty Torres. I love Shorty. You know, I found him in Bahrain as he was the most decorated amateur coming out, 2-time world champion with IMF. You know, 25-1. But man, and it's great. Because it's really refreshing in some respect. He approaches everything so methodically, and he's been super successful in building his brand up at 4-0 to be a world champion. You know, he fought Pedro Nobre, knocked him out. You know, he's fought a bunch of tough dudes. This fight he's doing against Farkad Sharapov, you know, he's fighting a guy that's a bigger weight class. You know, again, another guy with a lot more experience, and he's doing it because it gives them, it's the Conor McGregor mold, right? The champ, the opportunity to make the waves. Like, he wants to be in the UFC now. Like, what would you tell a guy like Shorty, who's doing a lot of things right? What would you try to tell to him about maybe the longevity of his career and what he can do or continue doing that he's doing well, and what he can maybe improve with?
No, Shorty is great, man. I love the guy. I love his attitude. I've been in the backstreet. I'm surprised that he's only 4-0. You know what I mean?
It's amazing, right?
Yeah, it's amazing. Like, when you see that, you see him in the backstage, like, bro, the guy got experience, you know? Like, but he's just comfortable there. And that's the thing, for his longevity, he got to keep that vibe. He got to keep the mentality, keep the attitude. It's just another day.
So it's interesting, you know, and I've done this with a lot of fighters in Titan, you know, where I reach out to the UFC on behalf of the athlete and say, hey, you know, what do you think, you know, what do you need to see to get this athlete to come over and transition? And it's no secret. I mean, Titan, in the past 2 years, we've sent 30-some-odd fighters to the UFC. And some guys right before title fights, you know, Ben Saunders, Volkan, like 2 days before he was...
I'm next.
Listen, that's the plan, man. I mean, listen, I want that. Nothing would make me happier. But I did the same with Shorty, and I actually made a phone call. And I was speaking at length with Sean Shelby, who used to be in charge of that weight class, and then now McMaynard is. And one of the things that was interesting as it related to Shorty was they wanted to see him under adversity. I mean, he's fought dudes with really amazing records that are UFC vets, and he's just dominated. And they really, before they bring him over, they want to see how he's going to handle adversity. And I thought that was pretty interesting, you know?
That's good for him. Because if you get that too early, imagine if you sign with UFC, you see a bunch of guys that sign, they get one fight, they're cruel.
Let's be honest. I mean, Sage Northcutt.
Bro, they come, they sign, the guy comes signing, this and that and this and that. The guy loses one fight, they cut him off.
Yeah.
Bro, that's cruel. That's one thing that I'm not really happy with the sport, those kinds of situations. That's one thing I used to love in Japan.
Didn't matter if you won or lost it on some respects.
Bro, no, it doesn't matter.
Just put on a hell of a show.
You go there, put a good show, and you're gonna see everybody fighting everybody.
Yeah.
That's really good.
You think about those days with, like, you know, Vanderlei and Mark Hunt and Mirko and
Page,
everybody. You know? Don't even know. The weight classes didn't matter. Everybody fought everybody. Whatever, dude.
Just
Come
go
on.
there. So that's the thing. But it's good for Shorty that the way the sport is, the way UFC is going right now, it's good for Shorty that he gets that experience. So when he goes there, he's ready.
Sure.
And then, but I just hope it doesn't take so long, because he's ready. He beats Pedro.
I think from a talent,
Pedro is a good guy. He's a friend of mine.
Yeah.
And a tough dude. Really,
very tough dude.
Yeah,
man.
and Shorty did what he did, you know. Like,
Yeah, and I think, listen, Farkad Sharipov is, you know, he's a very tough fighter as well, and I think a lot of people, you know, maybe don't know about him as much, but he's had some great fights with Titan, and, you know, plenty before that. And
yeah, for sure.
I think he's another great litmus test for Shorty.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, if Shorty can come in and do and replicate his performance that he had against Pedro, man, I don't know how you say the kid's not ready.
Yeah.
Like, it probably wouldn't be the worst thing in the world for him to get a couple more fights, but if he goes and he keeps the right attitude, I think he could compete right now against almost anybody in the division. Let's be honest. I'm not saying he's going to go fight Mighty Mouse, but you know what? In time, he's a guy who could compete.
Yeah.
You know?
But so does Sharipov.
Yeah.
He's a tough guy, man.
Absolutely,
I love him.
man.
Like,
Sure.
those are the things, those situations, those are the fights that I feel like, okay, whatever happens, I'm happy with.
I think it's going to be a decision, and I think it's going to be a war. I don't see this. I don't see Shorty ending it quick. I don't see Frank ending it quick. I really think it's going to be a really compelling fight. I think your fight with Kurt is going to be the fight of the night. Like, I'm convinced of it.
Fuck fight of the night. I'm finish of the year.
All right, that too.
You can do that. Look, I had the press seat in the house next to you guys, so I'm good to go. Whatever way you want to go, I'm going to be happy.
Yeah, it's true, man. Like, I've got a pretty good seat when I get to sit down, you know, when I'm not running around dealing with the commission and all the craziness. You got the best seat, I think.
I legit have the best seat in the house. The only downside is I also have to come with a towel because sometimes it's just, boom, someone gets cracked and like something just splashed. I don't know if it's sweat or it's blood. But I can't even look right now because I got to work. And then sure enough, like there'll be a couple of drops of blood or something. Actually the Sharipov fight, when he fought Whitley, I almost got hit with Frank's tooth.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah. See, you didn't notice that.
No,
I noticed
no.
that. I literally have a photo of Frank's tooth.
No, I've seen the photo where his tooth is like flying out.
Right. So he got rocked, like, because he was just sitting there, like Andrew was trying to ground and pound him. Sharipov was too, like, he wasn't even bothered by it. He was talking to the ref, like, can we move this? Because this isn't going anywhere. And as soon as he did that, he got hit, and all of a sudden, bing, like, full on. They make the noise. I'm like, the hell was that? And it's me, and I think one of the guys from Univision were sitting there. It's like, I think that was his tooth. I'm like, let me see. Give me that. Come on, give me that. So I'm sitting there holding his tooth, and I took a photo of it, and he was still going. The fight was still going. So, dude, there's
Yeah, Frank's tough, dude. He doesn't care, man.
Yeah.
He that kid will get in there, and that's one of the things I've really, when I signed him and we were talking, he says, listen, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to be your champion, and I'm going to put on fights like you haven't seen. He's lived up to the bill. He brings it every single time. To his credit, he became champion. You know, so I've got nothing but profound respect for Frank Sharipov.
He gave me some news the other day that I'm not going to divulge because I don't want to take it away from his fighter. But as a fight fan, from what he told me the other day, as far as what he really wants to do, I'm really, really hoping you guys make that happen. Because
he and I've talked, so but we'll hold off onto it.
So I'm keeping my mouth shut, but I'm super stoked to.
He's got a chip on his shoulder, and this is where it stems from. He's got a chip in the shoulder as well. That the UFC, you know, he's got a really good record. You know, he's like, why am I not in the UFC, bro? Mm-hmm. You know, and he's like, screw, we're gonna go out and I'm gonna make a lot of noise with a lot of other places. You know, we're gonna make some. And he's like, let's do it with Titan. We're going to go. We're going to fight. And this is what it is. I think what you were talking about. He wants to go challenge all the champions of all the other promotions out there. He doesn't give a fuck, dude. He's like, look, man, you make it happen as the promoter. Go get it done. I'll fight him. And fuck the UFC. That's what he said. You know, I'm like, bro, they're kind of my business partners in some respects. Like, I can't say that, but I get where you're coming from. I get where you're coming from, you know?
But that's the thing. That's he's standing for himself.
Sure.
And I like that. I respect that as well, you know, because you see everybody talking about Shorty, but everybody, I was people
think about Amanda.
People almost like forget about him, you know. Yeah. Sharipov, bro, he's a veteran. He fought all over. He's really, really good. He's tough.
Here's the thing. So, like, I turn a lot over to our production crew in terms of putting the pieces together to help promote the show, right? And so they put a piece together where I talked about the upcoming bouts, and you know, your fight with Kurt and Shorty's fight with Frank, and when I was talking about the fight with Shorty and Frank, the editing that they put behind it, and this is where I'll come right out and say it, man. I owe Frank a huge apology. Not that it was intentional. Only thing they showed was him walking into the cage. The rest was Shorty beating the shit out of people. And I told our producers, I'm like, hey man, I still put it up because we had to get it out, but they've got a whole nother highlight package for Frank. But I think that goes into is everybody looks past Frank.
Yeah.
And I think everybody feels like it's a foregone conclusion that Shorty's going to knock him out the way he did Pedro. I don't think so, man.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
It's
a
a
big thing
it's
if
a
you
tough
look
fight.
at Frank's fights. It's that the second that people feel his power, they start running.
Yeah.
No one will sit there and.
Well, dude's a legit boxer too.
Yeah, no one will truly trade with him standing toe to toe and start trading. So I know Shorty is a tough dude. So I'm curious to see how Shorty handles that because he did trade a little bit with Pedro, and Pedro got the short end of that one.
Yeah.
But there was a couple of times where you could tell that Shorty took a couple of hits and he had to sit there and kind of fight through it a little bit. I don't think he's gonna get that.
I think this is going to be that adversity that
That
the
they
UFC wanted to see, and how will he react? Will he go into deep water? Will he go into 5 rounds of back and forth and then prevail, or will he get hurt and then come back? I mean, we're going to see, man. I'm excited about it.
We all are.
That's right.
So let's see. Now we're getting into pretty deep here as far as the card. Let's go over a little bit over the card on what you have for the main, if we can.
What do you mean for the main?
To go kind of through the main card, I want to go through some of the other fights that you might be interested in that we can.
Well, we were talking about this earlier. Being the matchmaker, I have the great joy of making badass matchups, but my husky ass has also become quite gray because of the fact that my card has changed so many times, and it's granted we're still 3 weeks out, so there's plenty of time. But literally in 2 days, I've had 5 fights fall apart.
Damn it.
Wow.
5 fights fall apart in 2 days. So I'll tell you the fights that I'm excited about that are still together. Let's do that one.
Let's do that.
So Mark Stevens is a cat who fights out of ATT. Mark blew me up on social media. Why am I not fighting for you? What's going on?
What is that?
His name's Mark Stevens. Yeah. He's like, why am I not fighting? I mean, she harassed me. It's during the last fight. Harassed me nonstop during. Finally, I was like, dude, you win. Okay. Yeah, I looked at his record. I'm like, dude's legit, 21-9 or 10, something like that. I'm like, all right, dude, I'll sign you. So I connected it. We signed him. Dude's hustling and busting his ass. So I love him. He's great. He's fighting Rob Turnquist, who you fought. Yeah. Tough kid. He's fighting, I think, at a weight that Rob is that makes more sense for him. Yeah. He came down to 50 or tried to get to 55. More like 61.
Couple times.
but he tried to get down because he wanted to fight you. And I think that's a compliment to you. He really wanted to try to fight you. But he's not a lightweight. He's a welterweight. And so I think the fight with Mark and Rob, it's a good opportunity. Rob's real hungry to get back on the winning side of things and make a better display than what he had last time. I think that's a great fight. Will Starks, I just signed somebody for him to fight out of ATT Tampa, but Will Starks was one of Shorty's teammates, another guy that was a 2-time IMF world champion, came in, made short work of his opponent, so now he's 1-0. He's kind of one of the new projects that we have that we're working on. Super excited. He's a dynamic fighter. Usman has worked with him in the past quite a bit, and he's like, dude, this kid's legit, man.
Yeah, he's no joke.
Yeah, and chiseled, put together Adonis, man. He's like, I think I can make 55. I'm like, bro, I don't think so, brother. You got no body fat on you. Yeah. But I'm excited about him. Gustavo Eddie Ballart, he's about this tall, about 4'6". Yeah, that's not an exaggeration, dude. He's really.
I know.
He's the little Cuban Olympic red. But I'll tell you what, dude. He's almost as wide as he is tall, and that cat can flat out wrestle, man. And he's learning and he's working on his hands. They're getting better. But I think that's an exciting fight. In terms of him being on the card, I still don't know who he's going to fight because his opponent fell out. But I'll figure it out. Idir Tiri, kid out of FFA. He just got back from Thailand. He did the trip you and I have been talking about doing. He did a month in Thailand, but he's a talented guy, and he is fighting at Gleason De Jesus That's going to be a good matchup. You know, Gleason's a capoeira guy.
It's my boy.
Yeah.
I love him.
I trained with him. Long time ago, trained with him.
Actually, I didn't really train with him because he was a kid.
Yeah.
And that makes me feel old. And I'm not that old.
Not that old.
He always been involved in fighting. He was a capoeira.
Yeah.
His father, Rasta.
Yeah.
You know, I love him. I love the family. I love the kid. The kid has great attitude and good skills, man. Good skills. I actually corner him because he asked me, even though I wasn't together, but he asked me to corner him on the amateur fights, and bro, it was nice. He's
a
good.
good dude. Yeah, I've known him for a while. I used to train capoeira with his dad. So like I remember seeing this kid coming up. It's like his MMA fights and stuff, and Hash used to talk about him all the time and stuff. Once in a while I'd show up, start training capoeira. I was like, who's this little kid? Like, someone get this little kid away from me because I'm gonna get kicked in the face, and I don't really want that.
But we got Mike Lombardo out of ATT as well. He's a guy that is ranked really high. He's 2-0. Just signed him at middleweight. I think he's gonna do. I have a fight for him against Lorenzo Hunt. There was a fight that was supposed to happen in another promotion. The promoter couldn't make the fight happen for whatever reason. So I just brought it over here and signed Mike, and I've been trying to sign him for a while, so it kind of just worked out. I'm excited about that. Then we got Bruno Mesquita, Korea. Yeah. Tough Brazilian kid out of ATT as well. And he is fighting, who is Bruno fighting again? Oh, Jorge Calvo. He's 9-1, Costa Rican kid. He fought for us once before. You know, he had a rough night, but I think he's going to, put on a good fight. So, I mean, there's a lot of good fights. And I'm still filling holes, but, you know, we got 3 weeks, man. That's like an eternity. I mean, literally, I think the last 2 cards I was filling fights days before the event.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
Yeah, I always try not to joke around and text you too much. Like with
fight week, I'm a little tense.
Fight week's a little crazy.
I gotta be more Wu-Wei warrior, you know.
Yeah.
Bro, till the event is running, you see Lex all over, sweating already. Like, oh,
even
man.
then, because the last card, too, was kind of, like, tough. And I remember sitting there, like, as soon as I showed up to start taking photos and stuff for the weigh-ins and the interviews. No, the day before, I'm sorry. It's like, Lex, what's going on? Hey, what's up, brother? Yeah, doing good, cool. I go into the room, start setting my stuff up. I come out, and Lex is just, what the hell happened? He's like, bro, I don't even want to talk about it. I was like, oh, so you got to tell me then. Because then I really got to know. So it's the same thing. And even up to 10 minutes before the fight started, it's like, what happened? He's like, fucking A, bro.
Vulcan's opponent.
Yeah, Vulcan's opponent.
Yeah, it's a crazy thing. So Jack May tells me an hour before fighters are supposed to be arriving that he can't fight. And he tells me because there was an issue that came up with an injury he had that he was trying not to tell me about. So I say, hey, brother, what's going on? And, you know, the commission was just made aware of this. And he's like, yeah, man, I'm not going to be able to fight. I don't know. And I was trying to push through it. The commission took it out of his hands, so it wasn't ultimately his decision. And he's gone on. He went to Bellator, and he's got a win, and so good for him. But, man, he put Vulcan in a tough spot that night, man. An hour before the fight, and I remember having to take Vulcan outside and, like, look, bro, I'm going to pay you. But it's not going to take a sting away from what I'm about to tell you.
Yeah.
And he was devastated, man. It happened so many times. That's why when it was time for him to go to there was an opportunity for him to go to the UFC, I actually called on his behalf to advocate for him 2 days before the fight because I felt so bad about what that kid had gone through, you know. Mm-hmm. And he goes in, he beats OSP, who was ranked, he was number 6 at the time. Yeah. So then Vulcan was ranked number 9. Now he's ranked number 5 in the world, bro. And he's had one fight in the UFC, 5 in the world.
And that's one thing I gotta give props to Titan to you, to Jeff, to allow those things to happen, because you guys care about the fighters. I love the hashtag fans fighters first.
Yeah, that was Jeff's idea, and it's something we struggle with it sometimes because if you make any mistake, people throw that shit in your face. Yeah. But the reality is, Jeff was right in the idea, and I think he genuinely does care, and it's cool to see it play out sometimes. The way we're able to deliver on those sorts of things.
Yeah, but as a fighter and being experienced, I want to point out something for the young kids. That's another thing we talk about. Anything can happen till the fight. We have no control, you know. And if you're planning to fight one guy and you focus just on that guy and you don't focus on yourself, you get in the fight fall apart. They have to bring somebody new. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
How they're gonna play in your mind?
Yeah.
You know?
It's true, man. Like, I mean, from a business perspective, right? Like, I've got to make a fight, right? And I have a responsibility. Like, so say a couple days before a fight, right? You know, I still got to fill that space. I have a responsibility to the fans because they're supposed to see X number of fights. The UFC tells me, hey, Lex, you know, we need to see X number of fights on the show. You know, you get paid for the fights that you deliver to us, so we need X amount. And, you know, to you as a competitor who's put in an entire camp and invested and done everything, like, man, I've got to bust my ass to figure a way to make a fight for you. It's not always going to be the best option. And I think that's where that flexibility that you talk about and not being tied into one thing and just understanding kind of more of it is that journey and just going through it. And once you get there, man, it all takes care of itself, you know?
Yeah, and that's what reminds me one day, like when John Jones dropped the fight and they fought, the card fell apart, you know?
Yeah.
And that's one situation that I put myself in that situation. I was like, damn, man. On the business part, I know he was right, but as a fighter, like we were talking about martial artists, was hard to take.
Yeah.
Was hard to respect that decision.
I think a lot of people, like John caught a lot of flack for that, right? For sure. But, like, I understood it, you know. Dana was pissed, but I got that. You know, that made sense. You know, from his perspective, of course he's pissed, you know. Yeah. And I think a lot of the other fighters were upset too. But I think a lot of people also understood it. If they were in the same position, I think people would have, you know, had to go through that same calculus. Maybe they would have come up with a different, you know, decision. But anybody confronted with that decision, which was a tough one, had to go through that analysis.
Yeah, for
which
sure.
is that sucks to be in that position, man. Because you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't.
Yeah, and the thing is not just John Jones about it, you know. I know Greg had a part on there. You know, people surrounding him, managers, everything. Because that's the business part. So I don't put everything on John, you know, it's a smart decision for him, his career, especially like UFC. You go there, you lose, and then you lose another one. Like everything is gone. The fans they kind of forget who you are.
What happened if Conor McGregor would have lost after he lost to Nate Diaz?
Exactly.
Yeah. You know, the fact that he came back, no big deal, right? It's all forgotten. But if he would have lost again. Like Ronda. Ronda was a great dude. She was the biggest, hottest thing. She had this mystique. She had this energy. Man, I'm telling you, Dana White is not picking up the phone calling her every day now like he used to. I guarantee you, man.
The fans turned on her big time, too.
Which sucks.
Which, like, people that used to be, oh, Ronda Rousey is the best, this, that, and the other. Now it's like, you see people posting, like, oh, she's the worst thing ever. Like this,
and
that,
that's
and the
thing I talk about. You got...
Sorry to cut you off, Jay-Z. We're going to take a quick break right now. We're going to pick right back up in just a couple of minutes. Everybody's got to take a quick drink break. So we'll be right back.
Just the kids are all coming in.
And we're back. Sorry to cut you off there, Jay-Z. So we actually are wrapping this up. We're leading up into the hour and a half mark. I know we all got to get going now, but I just want to say thank you very much for taking the time to sit down with us today. Thank you, Lex, for doing this as well. Be sure to follow Jay-Z on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, at Gesias, I know, for the Instagram. The other ones?
It's the same.
All right.
Instagram, Twitter is the same, at Gesias. And I use more my personal page. I like to keep in touch on the Facebook. I don't use much of the page. I like to keep in touch with the real people, replying, be able to text. So Gesias Cavalcante. So just look it up.
So be sure, guys, to follow Jay-Z Cavalcante, Gesias Cavalcante on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and for more behind-the-scenes stuff on what he's doing leading up to Fight Night. Lex as well. If you want some more followers, it's at Lex McMahon. You can also always follow the Titan Fighting social media stuff. All the links you can find at titanfighting.com. Be sure to get your tickets for May 19th at the Pembroke Pines City Center. Tickets are available at Ticketmaster.com. Do we have anything else before we take off?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think there's two things. I mean, I want to thank both of you guys for being part of this first and historic event, Jay-Z.
Yeah.
But no, from the bottom of my heart, brother, it's, you know, I always love spending time with you. A lot of people don't know. You know, you train me, and I love that time that we spend together. But I love just hanging out with you as well. And Alex, same with you, brother.
Anytime.
So it's great there. But also, I would be remiss if I didn't send a shout out and a thank you to my business partner Jeff Aronson for making all this a reality, and some of our sponsors who've been with us for a long time, who really make this happen from the economic standpoint, which is Direct Vapor and It's a 10. So thank you to you guys. Thank you to our sponsors. Thank you to our fans. We will talk to you guys soon.
And I want to thank my sponsors through Jaime's Motors and 27 North, Hayabusa Combat, that have been with me for a while, a couple fights. So shout out for the guys. Shout out for Jeff as well. I love his job, what he's doing for Titan. And Glenn Robson, who is my manager, the team, my team, my brothers in war, the Black Gesias. So we keep going strong. And I'm the number one. We go there.
So King of the Titans, right?
King of Titan.
King of Titan.
See you guys May 19th at the Pembroke Pines City Center. Tickets are available at Ticketmaster.com.